My birthland, Bangladesh, is almost a failed state. Almost a failed state. It is almost in everything. It is almost a democracy, yet it is not. It is almost an Islamic country, yet it is not. The people there are almost secular, yet they are not. It is now almost a failed state. And nobody wants to admit it. The country is submerged in confusion. It is not being run by the Constitution, yet it is being run by the Constitution. It has a titular head, a president, yet he can't enjoy all the rights of a president. It has a head of a state, Professor Yunus, yet he is not actually an elected or constitutionally set head of government. Even Professor Yunus is almost a politician, yet he is not. The country is submerged in confusion because the country has overwhelming majority of Muslims as its citizens. Yet the people are not able to understand what the Quran reads because almost all of them do not understand Arabic. Yet they are very religious in other sense when it comes to rituals. They go to the masjids or mosques, try to pray as much as they can, yet they do not understand the words they are uttering during their prayer. Neither do they care. The country is almost a failed state. People in Bangladesh, they talk about politics all the time, yet none of them, almost none of them, ever read the constitution of those political parties. They talk about 1971 Liberation War, talk about the rights of Bengali people to have a land, yet they almost hate their own culture because the majority of the people, overwhelming majority of the people, want Sharia law, according to Pew Research. Yet, if you ask them whether they want a law where hands will be chopped off if someone commits theft, if they want to have a law where they will be whipped in public according to Sharia or stoned to death, they will say, no, we don't want that. But yet, when it comes to survey, they will all say, we want Sharia law. Because it is almost a totally doggone nation. The people there, they're almost liberal because they support women leadership when it comes to electing Sheikh Hasina or Khaleda Zia, who dominated Bangladesh's politics for the last 40 years, when the country was liberated hardly about 53 years ago. And the Islamic leaders, again, always condemn women's rights in their Islamic lectures, yet no one talks against it. Because as I said, they hate women, they hate women's rights, but yet they choose women leaders. The country is almost a doggone nation. The country is confused because they talk about liberation war, yet many of them are proud to say now that liberation war was wrong. The country was built on the blood of the martyrs because millions of people died during liberation war. Hundreds and thousands of Bengali women were raped by the West Pakistanis then during the Liberation War. Yet, they consider social media activists like Pinaki to be great when he claims only 2,000 people died during the Liberation War in 1971. Because the country is almost a failed country. The country has no sense of education. It's confused because some of them are proud, because they are following the British curriculum when it comes to education, because they consider that to be classy. They speak Bengali with an English tongue. We call that Banglish, because they bang in English style as well, you know what I mean? And there are students who go to madrasas and they emulate Arabs. They dress like Arabs, they talk like Arabs, they win international accolades in reciting Quran, beating Arabs even. The numbers in millions now, and they talk about caliphate. They even scold people like me in Arabic words I don't understand even, the explicits, oh God, the explicits. And then, again, when they try to write Bengali, full of spelling mistakes. And again, there are people who will go to the so-called mainstream Bengali medium education. And those students, they don't even understand the value of English being the language of, international language, of being the lingua franca. Because they're confused. The country celebrates songs like Shada Shada Kala Kala, famous Bengali film song when it hits the showcases and movie theaters, but yet they support many of them, beating up singers, banishing them from lands, and most of them don't find jizya tax to be imposed on minority Hindus to be logical. Yet, many of them will not hesitate calling Hindus to be Malauns, a derogatory term. You know what I mean? So the country is almost a failed state. They don't even know what Bengali nationalism means. And they don't even know what Bangladeshi nationalism means. They will give lives for their political party leaders. They will lick their feet generations after generations. And they won't feel ashamed of it. And they will praise their leaders for being handsome, good-looking, fair-skinned, Those traditional caste mentalities are there. Yet, they will attend mass gatherings where the white people of the West, the white governments of the West, the Christians, the Jews are being condemned left and right. And many of them will talk about rights when they come abroad, but they won't want to give rights to the people who are in the minority. Because there, freedom of speech does not reign. Because Bangladesh is now almost a failed nation. Almost. And nobody wants to admit it. 1 year on, Sheikh Hasina is gone. And many of them are waiting for Sheikh Hasina's return. Like the second Messiah coming, or the promised Messiah coming, or Jesus Christ coming back, a savior, when Sheikh Hasina is almost in her early 80s or late 70s. They consider her to be invincible. They won't choose future leader because they already believe in family dynasties. Because when you talk about monarchism, they will say, no, 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 we don't want absolute monarchism. But absolute monarchism is at play when it comes to two dynasties, the Rahman dynasties. Because this nation, Bengal, especially where the part of Bengal which is called now Bangladesh, has been under family dynasties for 2,000 years almost. So Bangladesh is now almost a failed state where barbarism is celebrated, applauded, loved, because it is almost a failed state.